Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you very much for your patience and for your tenacity. It is not overstating when I'm saying that this was truly complicated. It was quite difficult, and yet I do think it is very, very good news that we did manage to land this. We're living in exceptionally difficult geopolitical times, and this is a result that actually goes beyond the result in terms of climate. It was an opportunity to show unity and come together in truly very complicated geopolitical times. If you now look at the results, I truly think that tripling the amount that we put to the table is a truly significant leap forward. Secondly, making sure that we would enhance and enlarge the contributor base was very important and is very important for the European Union, but in my view is also an element of fairness and is important given the tremendous size of the problem. We simply need more money, and we need money from everyone who has the ability to take that responsibility. Third, clearly, and I'm not gonna hide that, we would have loved to see more ambition on mitigation. But you are also all aware that there were actually those who wanted to diminish the outcome of last year of the UE consensus. And the good news is that we have managed to safeguard that. And in my view, that does provide us the opportunity and the opportunity to make sure that we now go forward with a positive mood towards Belém. Any questions?
Yes, you've heard a lot of opposition. You've heard a lot of opposition on the floor to this deal. You're saying it's tripled with inflation. That's not exactly it. Do you think that this was pushed through too fast and too low?
Well, I mean, if you look at the last couple of days and weeks and of the range of conversations we've had, it's really, hundreds and hundreds of conversations. I don't think you could say we did it too quickly, but it is complicated. It is something where different people have different perspectives.
Do you think all countries are committed to transitioning away from fossil fuels after the outcome of this year's COP?
I do, but at the same time, we also have to we have to recognise that this is something that we will continuously need to be putting on the table, because this was something that people tried to unravel, at least some. And yet it was a unifying factor that actually brought together the supermajority of, I think, 150 to 180 countries last time. And that was so pivotal in the UE success. So, some battles you have to fight multiple times before you have finally truly won them.
How does it make you feel when you hear the reactions of all these developing countries that are so disappointed? What kind of feeling does that give you?
I deeply, fully understand and feel the difficulties they are in, and that is also the reason why we have liaised very, very intensively. And I think you have at least seen that to some extent with AOSIS, with our friends from the LDCs. With more broadly our friends from ILAC and from Africa, to make sure that this would be about content, it would be about process, it would also be about being listened to and empathy. It's never ideal. I don't think there's any party who would say that they got all that they would have wanted here, and yet I do think it is a very important step forward in the end for all of us.
India called it an optical illusion. What's your response to that?
I'll leave it up to the others, to find the wording and to categorize it as they feel fit. I do really think that this is a significant leap forward in exceptionally difficult geopolitical times, and that is truly worth a lot for the world.
Do you think Donald Trump was watching the outcome of this COP?
I am not sure.
How Saudi Arabia is happy with the outcome?
Sorry?
Do you think Saudi Arabia is happy with the outcome?
I think it is always best that you ask. You were with many. You've shown tremendous tenacity that you ask people themselves.
How important was the U.S. negotiating team in this outcome?
I think they did an amazing job, and it was a great privilege to work together with Sue, also with John Podesta. They have been very proactive. They have been leveraging the tremendous amount of relationships they have. And, these type of things, in the end, are the success of teamwork. I had huge support from all member states of the European Union. It was truly a privilege, to connect with the Americans, the British, and many other in the developed world. But as I said, to also work exceptionally closely together with our friends from the SIDS, from ILAC, from the LDCs, and that is in the end also what made sure that, with a lot of difficulty, but we could eventually land this thing.
Does this money go far enough for 1.5? And we only have a few years left to reach that limit.
If we truly live up to this, if we live up to also the mitigation ambition, and we unleash the 1.3 trillion, that is essential, then we can.
This is the second straight year.
The agreement was just a little bit less on my shoulders.
Okay. The second year that it was gavelled in without any discussion. Is the UN consensus process dead now? Well, I mean, why bother if it's gavelled in without any discussion, and then everyone complains afterwards?
It is what is important to understand here is that this truly is a global problem. It affects all of us. It involves all of us. So there is no better alternative for trying to find a solution with all of us. Fully recognizing that is why we've all lost so much sleep over this, why we have spent so much time in having all these conversations. And again, I said it before, talking to those with whom you very much agree, and also talking to those with whom you do not yet agree. And that is in essence what diplomacy is all about.
But does it not undermine trust in this process if you just gavel through agreements without letting countries speak?
It's that I need to leave with the presidency. What we have tried to do is broker a deal, be fair to really everyone, try to understand also where the pain and the opportunities and the desires were for others. And I'm truly glad, slightly exhausted, but also truly glad that we managed to do this.
I think you're also looking very crowded.
My coaching was not very, very effective. Guys, we're going to do 3 last questions, I think, and we're going to start with you.
If you look at the elections in EU member states, 300 billion seems still very high. So how are you going to explain that to the voters?
Well, this is a global goal. So this is a goal for all the money, and that involves, as I've said many times before, all the developed countries. I do truly think we as European Union, but also all other developed countries, have a responsibility given the affluence they have. There is an opportunity to do much more in terms of MDB money. But again, it is important that those who have accumulated significant affluence in the last decades also rise to the opportunity. Some have a higher GDP per capita than many of our member states. So it is also a matter of fairness that then we try to solve this problem together. What exactly individual European member states are going to do, that is fully up to them. That is their independent decision back home.
But the higher the GDP, the higher the contribution.
There is no distribution key. This is truly up to every single member state. Some are already doing way more than you could consider their fair share. But this is up to capitals to decide on.
How would you explain the rating of the presidency at the end of the COP presidency? What do you think? What kind of a job did they do at the end?
Look, I think we need to judge the presidency always on the outcome, and that's the exact same conversation we had last time. Clearly, the process was difficult, given that the substance is difficult. But I do have to commend them for their tenacity, for their desire to land this, for bringing us together time and time again. So I do think that Minister Babayev, Yeltsin and their whole team have done a very good job.
Yeah, maybe
how would you explain the commitment?
This is last one.
The EU currently pays a third of climate finance, right, under the 100 billion goal. Do you anticipate that will be the same under the 300 billion goal?
What we will do in any case is to show the leadership that is needed given the size of the problem and given the position of affluence that we have. But at the same time, it is fair and it is wise to make sure we broaden that base for the simple reason that the problem needs way more money. Thank you, friends. I hope you have a good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.